There is a strange thing about building wealth. Most people imagine it happening through dramatic moments. A huge investment win, a six-figure salary, a business idea that suddenly takes off, a lucky opportunity that changes everything. But for many financially successful people, the biggest difference is not created by one massive decision. It is created by small, almost invisible choices repeated for years. Choices that are so ordinary they almost look boring. They are not the habits people show on social media. They are not the purchases that make someone appear successful. They are not the financial tricks that promise overnight results. They are the habits nobody notices. The same person who drives an older car, brings lunch from home, checks their subscriptions regularly, and waits before buying something expensive might quietly be building more wealth than someone earning twice as much. And the surprising part is this: many of these habits do not feel like sacrifices. They feel simple, almost too simple. Because the real secret of saving serious money is not always about making more money. Sometimes it is about stopping the small leaks that quietly drain your future. Imagine two people who earn almost the exact same income. Both make $80,000 a year. Both work hard. Both have similar opportunities. But one person constantly feels like money disappears. Their paycheck arrives, bills are paid, small purchases happen, convenience takes over, and somehow there is never enough left at the end of the month. The other person does something different. Nothing extreme. They are not living in complete restriction. They simply have systems. They cook a few more meals at home. They buy fewer things impulsively. They avoid unnecessary upgrades. They understand where their money goes. 10 years later, these two people can have completely different financial lives. Not because one was smarter, not because one earned dramatically more, but because one protected their money while the other allowed thousands of small decisions to control it. And this is where most people misunderstand wealth. They think becoming financially successful is about finding the perfect investment, the perfect stock, or the perfect opportunity. But before money can grow, it has to survive. Because every dollar you fail to waste today has another job it could do tomorrow. It could become an emergency fund. It could become an investment. It could buy freedom. It could create options. The habits we are going to explore are not exciting. Nobody becomes famous online for saying, "I saved money by keeping my phone longer." Nobody gets impressed when someone says, "I became wealthier because I stopped paying for things I don't use." But these boring decisions are exactly why many wealthy people stay wealthy. They understand something that most people overlook. Money is not only built through what you earn, it is protected through what you refuse to lose. Habit 1, they delay purchases instead of fighting temptation. One of the most expensive psychological traps in modern life is believing that every desire requires an immediate response. You see something, you want it, you buy it, and the brain gives you a small reward. A new phone, a new outfit, a new gadget, a new subscription, a new upgrade. The purchase feels small in the moment because the individual transaction does not seem life-changing. But wealth is rarely destroyed by one huge mistake. It is usually weakened by thousands of small decisions that feel harmless. A $50 purchase here, a $100 purchase there, a few convenience expenses every week, a lifestyle upgrade every few months. The problem is not one purchase. The problem is the pattern. This is why one of the most powerful financial habits is also one of the simplest. Wait, financially disciplined people often create a gap between wanting something and buying something. They might wait 24 hours, maybe a week, sometimes a month, not because they cannot afford the item, but because they want to discover whether they actually value it. And something interesting happens during that waiting period. The emotional intensity disappears. The excitement fades. The brain stops saying, "I need this," and starts asking, "Do I actually want this?" This works because many purchases are not really about the object. They are about emotion. A stressful day creates the desire for a reward. A disappointing moment creates the desire for comfort. Seeing someone else with something creates the desire to keep up. The purchase becomes a solution to a feeling. But feelings change. And when the feeling disappears, sometimes the desire disappears with it. Behavioral researchers often describe this as reducing the influence of impulse decisions. You are creating distance between emotion and action. And that distance can save thousands of dollars over a lifetime. Think about someone who spends $200 every month on purchases they barely remember. That is $2,400 a year. Over 10 years, that is $24,000 before considering what that money could have become if invested. The number becomes even more powerful when time enters the equation. A person who invests that money consistently could potentially turn those small decisions into a much larger future amount. The lesson is not never buy anything. That is not realistic. The lesson is, do not let a temporary emotion make a permanent financial decision. Habit number 2, they know exactly where their money goes. A surprising number of people know their salary. They know their rent. They know their biggest bills. But they do not know the full picture. They do not know how much disappears through small recurring expenses, and that creates a dangerous situation. Because invisible spending feels harmless. A streaming service, a delivery fee, a premium app, a forgotten membership, a daily coffee, a few dollars here and there. Individually, none of these seem important. But money does not disappear because of one giant hole. It disappears through hundreds of tiny openings. Imagine filling a bathtub with water while several small holes exist underneath. You might keep adding more water, but the level never rises because the leaks continue. Income works the same way. Many people focus only on increasing the water. They search for a higher salary, a side hustle, a new opportunity. Those things can help. But if the leaks remain, more money simply creates more opportunities to spend. This is why financially successful people often track their money, not because they are obsessed with every dollar. Because awareness creates control. You cannot improve something you refuse to measure. The simple act of reviewing expenses changes behavior. A person who sees their spending clearly starts making different choices. They notice patterns. They recognize emotional spending. They identify things they are paying for but no longer value. And the most important discovery is often this. The money was not disappearing accidentally. It was following their priorities. Because your bank statement is more than a list of transactions. It is a reflection of what your life is rewarding. Habit number 3. They avoid lifestyle inflation. One of the biggest reasons people struggle financially is not because they make too little. It is because every increase in income immediately creates a matching increase in spending. A raise comes. A nicer apartment appears. A more expensive car becomes acceptable. More restaurants become normal. More subscriptions become justified. The person earns more but feels exactly the same. This is called lifestyle inflation. And it is one of the quietest wealth killers because it does not feel like a problem. It feels like progress. After all, isn't the purpose of earning more money to enjoy life? Yes, but there is a difference between improving your life and permanently increasing your financial obligations. A person who receives a $10,000 raise has a choice. They can allow that money to disappear into a more expensive lifestyle, or they can direct part of that increase toward their future. The second choice often looks boring. Nobody sees the investment account growing. Nobody congratulates someone for keeping the same car. Nobody notices someone choosing flexibility over appearance. But years later, the difference becomes visible. One person has higher expenses and feels trapped. The other has more options. Because wealth is not only about what you own, it is about what you can walk away from. The freedom to change careers. The freedom to handle emergencies. The freedom to make decisions without desperation. And often, that freedom comes from habits that look almost invisible. The most interesting thing about wealth is that the habits creating it are often the least impressive from the outside. A person building financial freedom rarely looks like they are doing something extraordinary every day. They are simply repeating decisions that protect their future. And over time, those decisions become powerful because money does not only respond to big moments, it responds to consistency. The small choices nobody sees eventually become the results everyone notices. Habit 4. They maintain things instead of constantly replacing them. One of the most expensive habits in modern culture is treating everything as disposable. A phone slows down, replace it. A car gets older, upgrade it. Clothes are no longer trendy, buy more. Something has a small problem, throw it away. This mindset seems convenient, but convenience has a cost. Financially disciplined people understand a simple idea. The cheapest item is often the one you already own. Maintenance is not exciting. Nobody feels successful because they repaired a 5-year-old appliance. Nobody posts online about keeping the same furniture for another decade, but wealthy people often understand the difference between value and appearance. They ask, does this still perform its purpose? Not. Is there a newer version? Think about a vehicle. A person might spend thousands of dollars every few years upgrading because they want the newest model. Another person might keep a reliable vehicle, maintain it properly, and invest the difference. The second person may not look wealthier, but financially, they may be creating a much stronger position. This does not mean never upgrading anything. Technology changes. Needs change. Sometimes replacing something is the smartest decision. The point is intentionality. Do not let marketing convince you that everything old has lost its value. Sometimes the smartest financial move is simply keeping what already works. Habit 5. They buy quality when it actually matters. At first, this habit sounds contradictory. How can saving money involve buying more expensive things? Because cheap decisions can sometimes become expensive decisions. A person focused only on the lowest price may repeatedly buy items that break, need replacement, or create frustration. Financially smart people do not always chase the cheapest option. They consider value. A high-quality item used for years can sometimes cost less than repeatedly replacing cheaper alternatives. The key difference is understanding where quality matters. A reliable computer for someone who works from home may be worth paying more for. A durable mattress can improve sleep and productivity. A quality tool used frequently can save money over time. But this principle is often misunderstood. Some people use buy quality as an excuse to justify luxury spending. A $2,000 designer item is not automatically a smart financial decision because it is expensive. The question is, does the purchase create lasting value? Or is it simply creating a temporary feeling? Financial intelligence is not about spending less on everything. It is about spending intentionally. Habit 6, they make convenience earn its price. Modern life is designed around convenience. Food delivered instantly. Entertainment available immediately. Services that save time. And many of these things are genuinely useful. The problem begins when convenience becomes automatic. A person may spend hundreds of dollars every month simply because they never question the cost of saving a few minutes. A delivery fee here, a premium service there, a subscription they barely use. The hidden problem is not one purchase. It is that convenience spending often happens without awareness. Financially successful people ask a different question. Is this saving me valuable time? Or am I paying because I created a habit? Time is valuable. Sometimes spending money to save time is the right decision. A busy professional might happily pay for certain services because the time saved allows them to earn more or focus on important priorities. But convenience without intention becomes expensive. The goal is not to remove convenience. The goal is to make sure convenience is serving your life instead of controlling your spending. Habit number 7, they plan their spending before they spend. Most people think budgeting is about restriction. They imagine someone sitting down and telling themselves, I cannot do this. I cannot buy that. I have too many rules. But many financially successful people see budgeting differently. It is not about controlling yourself after money disappears. It is about deciding where money should go before life decides for you. The difference is psychological. Reactive spending happens after emotions appear. Planned spending happens before emotions take over. A person who plans ahead can spend money without guilt because the decision already fits their priorities. They can enjoy vacations. They can enjoy hobbies. They can buy things they value because they are not constantly wondering, can I afford this? They already know. Financial freedom is not having unlimited money. It is having clarity. Habit 8. They avoid trying to impress people they don't know. One of the most expensive human behaviors is spending money to communicate a message. A bigger house, a luxury car, designer clothing, the newest technology. They are about what the item represents: success, status, recognition, respect. The problem is that social approval is an endless financial game. There will always be someone with something newer, someone with a more expensive lifestyle, someone who appears ahead. If your financial decisions are based on keeping up, you will always be chasing because the goal keeps moving. Many wealthy people eventually realize something important. Looking rich and being wealthy are completely different things. A person can have expensive possessions and little financial security. Another person can appear ordinary while quietly building millions in assets. The question is not, what will make people think I am successful? The better question is, what will make my future self more successful? Habit 9. They automate their good decisions. Willpower is unreliable. Everyone has moments when motivation disappears. Everyone experiences stress. Everyone makes emotional decisions. That is why financially smart people build systems. They do not depend only on discipline. They automate. Money moves into savings automatically. Investments happen consistently. Bills are organized. Financial goals are built into their routine. This works because the human brain is designed to adapt. When the right behavior becomes automatic, it requires less mental energy. The person does not have to constantly fight temptation. The system protects them. A person who automatically invests $500 every month may not feel like they are doing something dramatic. But years later, consistency creates a result that individual decisions never could. Small actions become powerful when repeated long enough. Habit 10. They review their financial life regularly. The final habit is one of the simplest. They pay attention. Many financial problems grow because people avoid looking. They avoid checking accounts. They avoid reviewing expenses. They avoid thinking about retirement. They avoid difficult conversations about money. But ignoring a problem does not make it disappear. It usually makes it more expensive. Financially successful people regularly ask, is my money still moving toward the life I want? Because goals change. Priorities change. Life changes. A financial plan that made sense 5 years ago may no longer fit today. The purpose of reviewing your money is not judgment. It is adjustment. It is making sure your resources are supporting your values. The biggest lesson from these habits is that wealth is rarely built through one impressive decision. It is built through ordinary decisions repeated long enough that they become extraordinary results. The world celebrates the visible parts of success, the expensive houses, the luxury cars, the big achievements. But behind many financially successful people is a foundation nobody sees: the delayed purchases, the avoided waste, the careful choices, the quiet discipline. Because money is not only a tool for buying things, It is a tool for creating options. And the habits that look boring today are often the same habits that create freedom tomorrow. The person who saves a little more, spends a little more intentionally, invests consistently, avoids unnecessary pressure. They are not simply collecting money. They are buying something much more valuable. Control over their time, freedom in their decisions, and the ability to choose their future. The strange truth about wealth is that the habits that create it often look ordinary. They do not attract attention. They do not create instant admiration. They are almost invisible. But years later, those invisible choices become the life everyone else can see. And sometimes, the most powerful financial moves are the ones nobody notices.